Yes.
Hi, Chris. I was watching Stargate a few months ago, and I noticed your name popped up with a couple of writing credits. Tilk had some very good scenes, so I'm not sure why that happened. So how do you find writing?
I think of writing very much, I think it was J.K. Rowling that, because we've had the same level of success. She had a very on-the-nose comment, which is, I hate writing. I love being done. And there's such a sense of accomplishment when you get done, but the actual process of writing for me is so arduous. And so the way I write is I literally sit there and stare at my computer until the entire script, dialogue and all, pops in my head. And I frantically have to type it out before I forget. So everything that I've ever written, no matter what length of it is, has taken me like 4 days. Because I will just sit there and not get up until I'm done. And it's just a really arduous process, but the feeling of accomplishment and the check is very rewarding. Yes, much like J.K. Rowling's checks. I wonder how big her check would have to be to get all them zeros on it. I digress. Yes?
Mine's actually an elaboration on that one. Can you tell us about specifically the episode The Changeling and writing that one?
Yeah, it came about, I think it's no secret, my love of Scotch. So, I think that was, what, season 5. I wasn't being creatively challenged anymore because there started to be kind of less and less Jaffa episodes. So I pitched a story called Warrior, and so that was bought. So I went to Brad, and I said, I'd really like to, I gave this pitch for The Changeling, and we bought it. I said, I'd really like to try to write an episode. And he said, okay, great. And I said, but, okay, so the normal way that we write episodes, that starting episodes were written, was that someone would have a pitch, an idea, it would be accepted, and then the writers would sit in the writer's room and spitball ideas, so that they would break it down into acts, then into scenes, and then beats. So basically all that was, and I'm oversimplifying, but, so basically what then the writer was credited for, it was really, it was really a communal process. Until the writer would get credit would basically fill in dialogue. I was just really interested in finding out if I could actually write. So Brad actually let me go off on my own, write it. And so I turned it in, and then we went on a 2-week summer hiatus. And so for 2 weeks I gave one copy to Brad and one copy to Martin Wood, who was going to be directing. 2 weeks I didn't hear from Wood. You know, let everyone think that I'm terrible, I'm horrible, I should have never tried to do this. Why is my Scotch glass empty? And then on the Sunday before we go back, I got a call from Martin and from Brad saying how wonderful they thought the episode was. So they kind of all paid off. But it was, the genesis of it was, it really came from just 2 very simple things. I wanted Shanks to be back on the show, and I wanted to ride a fire truck, which is kind of true. That was kind of the start of the episode, and I wanted to slide down a pole. I mean, I wanted to go down a fireman's pole. I wanted to get from the top floor of the firehouse to the bottom floor of the firehouse by way of a pole. There's just no good way to say that, is there? So yeah, that was truly where I started with that episode. Yeah, that's it.
Hi Chris, how you going?
Oh, hey.
You've done a lot of voiceover work in the last few years, and I'm just wondering, how did the role of Magneto come about in X-Men Evolution?
It came about because they were moving the production of it from LA to Vancouver. So they were trying to find a voice match for the previous Magneto. And I just got a call, and I was on set. And they said, look, you've been requested to put in a voice print to do a voice match for this character on X-Men. I said, I'm at work. Like, I can't get idiots. They said, it's Magneto. I said, oh, okay. So I actually went to our sound guy and just kind of recorded what I thought was a Patrick Stewart impersonation and sent it to him. And somehow I got it. So that's kind of how it came about, just trying to do a voice match. One of the greatest, so Rick knows that I have a man crush on Patrick Stewart's voice. Well, that's something bad. So Rick comes up to me one day and says, Chris, you gotta hear this, you gotta hear this, you gotta hear this. So I'm thinking it's gonna, because we had this long running thing about, the fart game we used to play. That's all good. So I thought he had recorded like himself farting or something. That's what I thought it would be. So he puts the phone to my ear, and it's, hello, Richard. It's Patrick Stewart. And I just wet myself. Yes. No, she doesn't run this, I do. Ask the question. Ask the question. Wow. It's almost like I'm at home.
Thank you for coming.
Oh,
Obviously it's gone a long way, Stargate. What do you think of Stargate Atlantis and Universe? Do you watch them? Do you catch up with the crew? Is it something that is something passionate?
Well, obviously Atlantis, I was much more familiar with because we were there at the same time, and both casts were very friendly. And Stargate Universe, I never really saw that much of it. I think I saw maybe some of the pilot. What do you guys think of it?
Don't bother with crap.
Feel free just to yell out whatever you want. It was, I understand where it came from, like wanting to do something a little different than SG-1 and Atlantis, but for me, it just wasn't the same kind of Stargate world that we were in. So I think if it didn't have the Stargate name on it, it might have been a good, or it might have had more fan acceptance. But when you put Stargate on something, then there's a general expectation of what it's going to be, and it's not a dark, brooding thing with Stargate, right? So I mean, like I said, I understand why they did it and what they were trying to do, but I think they just kind of misjudged what the franchise tag Stargate means to all the fans that made it a franchise. So, but I mean, God bless them for trying. I mean,
Hi. Just wondering, what was it like working with Jason Momoa in Stargate Atlantis?
he's so ugly.
Matter of opinion, I guess.
So ugly, skinny. No, Momo was like my little brother, and I got to the point where I didn't really like to rehearse fight scenes that much, if at all, because it's like dancing, and so once you know the basic footwork to a dance. You can pretty much do any kind of dance that's close to it. So, so Bam Bam was choreographing this fight. So he brings me a DVD to watch of what the fight's going to be. So it's like 7 minutes of this stuff that I'd never done before. So before he put it on, I said, Bam Bam, no, I don't have to rehearse a lot. Like, just leave. Stay here, I'll watch it, I'll figure out the footwork. He's like, Chris, maybe you should watch this. So after I watched it, here was my reaction. When should we start rehearsing, Bam Bam? So we actually worked on it for 2 weeks, which is probably the longest I'd ever worked on any fight scene. And Momoa, there's not enough good stuff I can say about that kid. He has such a great energy, and he is one of the biggest, most athletic people that I've ever met in any sport in my life. And just the energy that he brings to everything is just unbelievable. And I mean, I so love that kid. I'm so proud of him for all his successes. And the fact that he is still the exact same kid as when we all first met him is so admirable. He's not changed, not one bit. But he's gotten uglier. Is he not the best looking man on earth? I hate him. My daughters would come to set and just, you know, you introduce them around, and then introduce them to Jason, they just literally just went,